because the quartermaster stuff becomes like you can deal with it pretty effectively.
So effectively, with that buff, it allows it upgrades the Silverback Patriarch into a Silverback Patriarch that can deal with 3/3s.
Yeah, it scales with quartermaster actually. Exactly. Except I guess it can't take out as many. It can't take out as many tokens.
So I think Piloted Sky Golem. If you're gonna run this card, might as well play it on 6, right?
Play it on curve. You're not under that much pressure. You're at a pretty good health total, and most importantly, he can't deal with it easily.
Yeah. It's the poor man Savannah Highmane.
I mean, he just uses Owl too, so most likely you'll be able to get a pretty decent value as long as you don't get Twilight Drake. That's when you're most sad.
Yeah. I mean, he uses Owl off the Piloted Shredder, right?
Right. But I'm saying, as long as you don't get that. So.
Speaking of Savannah Highmanes, here's one, and we could see the battle of Savannah Highmane versus mini Savannah Highmane, or poor man.
I mean, effectively, it's a mech Highmane, just
a little bit less.
Yeah, a little bit less stats. But you might make it up in other departments. Say the 4-drop comes as a 4/5 Yeti.
Yeah. You know, there was a player, the Fishu. He actually won a tournament playing Hunter with 2 Savannah Highmane, 2 Piloted Sky Golem, and Dr. Boom.
Yeah.
Pretty much never ran out of threats.
That was the Millennium Cup back.
Yeah. Second Millennium Cup, I believe.
That's right. That fact was brought to you by Liquipedia, aka Monk.
Yeah. Now officially sponsored by Liquipedia.
Monk.teamliquid.net. You know what makes it interesting and fascinating to me about the Blackrock Mountain Monk is that cards like the Hungry Dragon are going to come off of Sky Golem, and then of course Hungry Dragon spawns those 1-drops like the Dragon Egg omelet thing.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting that the Piloted Sky Golem and Piloted Shredder, or even Sneasel Shredder, they'll be either buffed or nerfed with future expansions. So that's actually really cool game design from Blizzard.
It's an interesting dynamic, because then what happens if you make a drop that's like too good at 2 mana? Then it's like
you mean like
always threat the Pilot Shredder will double its value.
You mean like Millhouse Mana Storm?
Right. Well, I'm saying like you can't create something that's like that sheer power level. If it's Battle Cry like is the main drawback, because the pilots will keep it in check. Otherwise, you buff the Pilot Shredder.
Yeah, really interesting actually. Glad you brought that up. Oh.
Hey, did I say a Yeti would come out? I believe I did.
You said I guess you didn't specify which type of Yeti.
I said a Yeti. Is that a Yeti?
It's a fake Yeti.
No, that's a Yeti that'll live. That's been immortalized. And no longer will be destroyed by bad weather conditions.
You know, I'm actually very curious if the Mechanical Yeti is actually a WoW lore card, or it actually is from WoW lore, or they just made it because Chillwind Yeti already exists. Something I'm good with like Hearthstone facts, but not too good with lore.
Specifically, I wonder if Blizzard would ever make action figurines that look like Hot Wheels cars. Like this Ferrari here. Sick plug. That transforms into the Mechanical Yeti.
Good thing
that would be sick.
Yeah. Just all these thoughts coming from... You're on fire today, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You should sell these thoughts. A penny for Fodan's thoughts. Alright, so... we have a turn where... Obviously, Muster for Battle plus Quartermaster.
Yeah, Quartermaster seems very powerful here with the Muster for Battle. Because even if he has
Unleash the
Hounds with like Knife Juggler, like how do you deal with this efficiently?
Yeah.
You need like double Timberwolf.
I mean,
the Chinese casters are like, whoa! But we're like,
that's alright, I guess. I mean, you can kill like 2
now,
of these.
if he still had his Cult Master, we'd be like, okay, you know, and he has a full hand, Paladin struggling on cards. But he's under threat of maybe dying.
You know what he really needs? He needs a 2-mana Buzzard right now. Maybe draw some Hunter's Marks along with that.
That's what I'm saying. He needs Timberwolves.
Yeah, Timberwolves as well. Yeah. That might be good. Again, 6-0. He was recently playing Timberwolves in his Hunter.
Yeah. Did he tell you that?
No, I saw it. Like,
okay. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. He has to be super defensive.
Yeah, it's you're in a bad position as the hunter player
Right.
when you're being on the defensive.
When you're using Unleash the Hounds to just barely survive. He's going face.
So I just got a note from the production that the classes shown in the introduction are the players' favorite classes and not the classes they'll be using. That makes sense.
That's so interesting.
You know what it is?
Wait, I don't know if "makes sense" is the right term, Monk, but
Okay.
that's interesting.
It's interesting also because the classes that were shown were almost always not the classes that were used by the players.
It's like your favorite class. Like, these are my favorite classes, but I'm not playing them today.
It might be.
But I just explained why like Shaman is like shown for some reason.
But it might just be to like throw people off their sense. Like, yeah, these are my favorite classes. I'm definitely gonna play them, right? Players thinking one step ahead.
Some pretty good cards again being drawn by the Paladin player. Just this is what happens when you know, if Hunter can't grab the early game board lead, and Paladin's able to just win. Just through sheer like effectiveness of all their card combinations.
Yeah, unfortunately there was no consecration. If there were a consecration, the game might have been locked up there.
Yeah, there's no reason to hold Zombie Chow. You're not trying to race the Hunter. You're just gonna outgrind him. Although cards like Dr. Boom do present an interesting plot twist, if you will, because the Boom bots can do some serious damage.
Yeah, the problem with Dr. Boom, though, is that you're up against the Sylvanas, and you know how that always goes. Sylvanas into Dr. Boom. So he set... EntryFee sets up a lot of damage on the board. That's 6, 11, 12, 13, 15 damage, plus the weapon is...
Yeah, that's assuming Zombie Chow doesn't go down here, though.
And I have a feeling it will.
So...
I think your priority is to get rid of the Sylvanas.
Right.
But I mean, this mechanical Yeti would be really nice to get rid of as well.
You might even get the coolant. If you get the coolant to freeze the Sylvanas, that'd be nice. The stats don't really matter that much because the Silverback Patriarch can't really be buffed outside the Sylvanas range to kill it.
You could even use the Silverback Patriarch here, or in the next few turns to block the Sylvanas.
Right. And there's no way to like push for a lethal, right? If you start going aggressive.
Yeah, you have just a lot of defensive cards.
3, 6, 8. Oh, maybe you do if you have. Oh, you can't play Dr. Boom and weapon. Okay. If he was able to play Dr. Boom and weapon, you could argue that he might have an opportunity to try and push for lethal if he got kill command or something.
So time rewinder, probably not the best right now.
No.
Okay, so he's actually gonna play everything but Dr. Boom.
Right.
Unfortunately, he's gonna get wrecked. EntryFee does have a Harrison, his only card left in his hand right now.
Yep.
And he can even time rewinder his Quartermaster. It's pretty good.
Well, let's see what he draws first. I mean, or time unwinding the Quartermaster doesn't seem useful other than just healing it.
Yeah.
Oh, is he gonna wait for the secret to pop first? Yeah, I guess
yeah, that
so.
makes sense. Yeah.
So that way you can get 2 cards.
Yeah, he can get 2 cards, and he can possibly set off like an explosive trap for the Harrison, maybe. Although, judging from the other Chinese players' decks, it's probably going to be freezing trap yet again. We haven't seen snakes or explosive in these Chinese hunter decks.
Right.
I'm actually wondering if they all got the deck from the same place, or whether
it feels like they all have the same 30 cards, right?
Yeah, or if they all prepared with each other, like they banded together to like really beat the Europeans. Because I know like a lot of the Europeans, because they're not as well known, they don't have a lot of well-known practice partners, so they're just practicing amongst themselves right now within European teams.
I like them. I like that.
Yeah, just more of a team spirit, I guess. That's interesting. He actually decided to throw the shielded mini-bot back into his hand instead of the Quartermaster.
He's got that Quartermaster again, synergy with the Muster for Battle. I say you swing again. Oh, okay. So he just chooses the hero power. Fine, it's fair. But I really wanted to hear the swing.
Do you know the sound effect of the swing?
Yeah, when you play the Muster for Battle.
Oh, yeah.
It goes like swing.
Fair enough. And you also wanted the 2 arms men? often 6 arms men. So yeah, we saw like EntryFee didn't have a really good hand before, but like he only had 1 card, which is Harrison Jones. But because of that Harrison Jones, he's looking in a pretty good position right now.
Is this lethal? 5-10. He's 1 damage off lethal?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, no! He had lethal!
Yeah, he had lethal.
He had lethal!
He could have time rewinded the quartermaster.
Yeah, alright, you saw it too.
Yeah. You saw it at the same time. Okay, so yeah, for those of you who didn't see that, you could time rewind to the quartermaster.
You attack first with the quartermaster. That's 2 damage.
Exactly.
Then you rewind it back, and you buff your 1/1 to a 3/3, and then attack with everything else. You would have 21 damage, and you have 20 health.
Well, first miss lethal of the tournament.
It's okay. He's got Dr. Boom on his side.
I don't think he's gonna win this. Or
you know what?
Lose this one.
He's just concealing the fact that he has True Silver Champion. I don't think he wants his opponent to know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
there's
a lot of variations of Paladin decks, and I would say maybe there's one out there that doesn't run True Silver Champion. I don't know. It's possible. Someone who didn't beat all 10 rounds of the beginning.
It's all good.
Paladin
it's all good.
intro.
EntryFee wins game 1. China's descent, and the losing streak continues here. The chat says it's the Swiss Miss. I love it.
Oh man.
You know what? Can I mod this guy for saying that? Because that was really clever.
Send him like
a Swiss Miss.
You know what? Send him a Ferrari.
Send him a Ferrari. Well, we only got these Hot Wheels ones, man.
So EntryFee, he's looking pretty good right now.
He does. You know what? He came a little jittery. He told me he was nervous this morning. It's a lot of money. These guys, it's their first tournament, 60K on the line. And of course, the Europeans can't win the Ferrari, but you get to be the guy that denied the players an opportunity to win the Ferrari.
Yeah. And denies it, he does. You know, maybe he just really didn't want to kill his opponent. You know, he's from Switzerland. It's a very neutral country overall, and like he's maybe a pacifist. He's like, okay, I'll let you just concede, kill yourself. I'll let you die an honorable death.
Wow.
He's really shooting there.
You watch way too many animes, man. Just because you have a very dark, morbid sense of
is that related to watching anime?
Huh?
Is that related to watching anime?
You know, nowadays anime has to be pretty dark and edgy to get stuff. You know, like Psychopaths and.
Well, I wasn't the one who suggested to give Hearthstone players ballistic missiles.
Yeah, but that was like topical humor because 1, it's way more expensive than a Ferrari, and 2, Kalento's from Ukraine. So.
Okay. Don't you think that was like kind of dark as well? You know, the Ukraine situation.
All right.
All right, moving on.
Well,
So
we'll call it even, Monk.
we'll call it even.
So, what classes does these players have remaining?
All right, so EntryFee's Paladin was used up. So now he has Rogue and Druid left versus his opponents Druid, Paladin, and Hunter.
Oh, look at that shot. Hey, look at us. That's us. What up?
Hey, us.
We're just casually laying back. As you can see, my jacket's on the floor because it's a little cold in the venue. But these guys are actually in a soundproof booth. You can't hear anything when you're in that booth. Oh, on the outside it is.
Yesterday when I was playing some games, like as you said, some guy tried to steal the Ferrari, and the Ferrari alarm went off. And there was a lot of shouting and screaming, but still I was just concentrating on my game.
A car alarm was going off like right there where the car was. You just saw it. And Monk couldn't hear it in the soundproof booth. Also important to note that car is actually the CEO of NetEase. Like that is his red car.
Yeah.
And he put it there as extra motivation for the players to perform well.
Yeah, he's like we need something to show off, right? And he's like
they even hired 2 very attractive Chinese women dressed up in bunny suits and French-made outfits to stand next to the car to incentivize them even more. But it's not working, Monk. They need to win now, and I don't know. It's Rogue versus Druid. This is a matchup where I feel like EntryFee is going to be in a good spot. Well, we've got Wild Growth, but still.
Yeah, that's true. I really think the key part about this matchup is
they went full ESGN, and Chinese players are not even. They're not even turning it back.
I was going to let you make that comment.
Oh, okay.
I was waiting for you there.
Okay, I got you.
Anyway, so I think the most important part, or like one of the really easy ways to win this matchup, is if your opponent, first of all, he doesn't have walled growth, and like he somehow plays like a Violet Teacher into like prep something, clears your board, and then
like if he saps and he has Violet Teacher on the board, that's like game over.
Yeah, there's like you can't like deal 5 damage at the Druid easily in the first few turns. So he's gonna need something like Swipe Hero Power, Swipe Wrath. And we might see that come to fruition. At least there's like a Violet Teacher on the board. On the other hand, though, the Druid did have walled growth and...
Right, and that's actually somewhat problematic. But, you know, the fact is he still can deal with it. Usually whatever comes out of the Pilot Shredder should still be relatively innocuous that the second charge of Deadly Poison can take it out. And then you have the Pilot Shredder or Violet Teacher to follow up. Having the coin, the extra card, is still pretty clutch. That has never changed from a class like Rogue.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to use all his mana on this turn. I think the very obvious play is the Deadly Poison and try to clear the Shredder.
Right.
How much better would his hand be with a preparation? Again, like that exact play, Violet Teacher, prep, and maybe like an Eviscerate or a Deadly Poison. It would be so great.
Yeah, fair point. You're not wrong, sir. You are not wrong.
Nope.
How do you... Is there any merit to just like dropping your own Shredder and then like passing the turn?
Oh, yeah, that's also possible. Yeah, I kind of like that too. I might even like that better because you utilize more of your mana. Whereas you only utilize fully your mana if like something good comes out of the Pilot Shredder and you're forced to eviscerate it. Sludge Belcher.
Right, so this naturally preys on it, but if you know, if EntryFee does pick out that prep, that's an opportunity for this Violet Teacher to do some serious work.
Yeah, unfortunately, no prep.
7 is not a bad pickup either. You can get through the first body of the Sludge Belcher pretty painlessly.
Yeah, and the Sludge Belcher, its job pretty much here is to test the Piloted Shredder. And with the Deadly Poison plus SI Agent, it's not going to be able to fulfill its job very well. Plus, you get a board advantage. You get an SI Agent on the board, and you get a 3 attack Dagger on the board, both of which contest with the Piloted Shredder.
Oh, Sap, Eviscerate? Okay. It's an alternative.
Oh, we have to wait for this lethal because EntryFee is... We know he's the more passive player. But I think he's...
Oh, I like it. The BM. I approve.
You might as well just haha at the end.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, he didn't go for the maximum overkill. But, you know, he went for precise lethal. So, EntryFee takes game 2, and Xyuan is down to his last life here. He's going to have to win with all of his decks. He's got Druid, Paladin, Hunter, and it has to beat Druid 3 times.
Overall, I'd say they're pretty decent matchups against Druid, but to win 3 matches in a row against the Druid, I mean, Druid is that one deck where it's just hard to win consistently against.
Yeah.
We've seen some players, they bring decks that are weak to a specific class, and they just get wrecked all over and over again. Like, for example, Chalky, he brought this lineup of 3 fatigue decks, and his goal there was actually just to run into a rogue and just beat that rogue. Like, pretty much almost throw the other matches because he doesn't really care, but just essentially he can afford to go 0-2 at the start and beat the rogue 3 times because those matchups are just so good. Another example is Amaz. He actually brought a priest to the Gfinity tournament recently, and he basically his opponent he brought Handlock, Warrior, and Rogue. Pretty much the 3 best classes against Priest. Right. And Amaz had to face him twice, and unfortunately, that Priest won 0 games in the tournament.
Well, Amaz actually did okay at Katowice. He got 2nd. So I don't think he was punished as heavily by a lineup. But yeah, that is one of the noticeable glaring holes in the competition. If you're not prepared for a specific lineup, you could get completely destroyed. But so is the case with anything, right? If you're a single deck format, you forget about the biggest counter to you or something. You know, it's always the case. Here we go. Game number 3. Druid versus Druid. 2 players start off with Innervate, so that cancels out. Can they up the ante? Will there be a Wild Growth Monk? Or maybe a second Innervate?
Oh, man. Are we going to see like a turn 2, turn 3 Dr. Boom? Only time can tell. You know, I've casted a lot of Druid Mirrors lately, and it's always been... I hear a lot of casters and players say that the player who gets Wild Growth almost always wins. But I've seen a lot of situations where one player gets Innervate and the other player gets Wild Growth. And in the 4 times I've encountered that in a cast, every single time the Innervate player usually won. They innervated something like a Pilot Shredder or a Shade, and they just got the initiative, and the Wild Growth player just could not come back from that that early game aggression.
They sunk the 2 mana as opposed to gain the 2 mana.
Exactly.
At the moment. Well, I like the hand of the one with the Ancient of Lore in it. That one's... Is that... that's Xyuan's?
Oh yeah, there's the Chinese player Xyuan's.
Entry fee passes on turn 2. That's a sigh of relief for Xyuan.
Yeah, if Xyuan were Stansifka right now, he'd be like doing a dance right now.
Oh!
But that's...
That is bad news bears.
So yeah, turn 3 Ancient of Lore. Possibly, as I mentioned, turn 3 Dr. Boom if he draws that as well.
Oh man, and if he drops Big Game Hunter, it's gonna get sniped by the Keeper of the Grove, and that's pretty hard to come back from.
Turn 2 hero power, turn 3 hero power against the Wild Growth. This is probably one of my least favorite parts about Hearthstone, when one player just draws dead and the other player draws Wild Growth, and especially in a Druid Mirror, it just feels... You get the feeling that it might just be unwinnable.
It still can turn around. It's just unlikely because one of the challenges to Wild Growth sometimes is that it is a card that you don't get back. It's tempo that you gain from the mana that you accelerate, but you lose the card advantage. So sometimes if you don't have that Ancient of Lore, you know, you're in trouble. But not in this case. You have the Ancient Lore, you have the Wild Growth, you curve out perfectly.
Yeah,
and you're going to be in a good spot.
Yeah, pretty much the best of both worlds. Not only does Xyuan have tempo, but as you said, he has card advantage. And board control. Basically, there's nothing that Entry Fee is leading on right now. I guess he still has the Innervate, but that's a pretty small consolation prize.
Yeah, now he's regretting not being able to play the Big Game Hunter. But, you know, we of course know the Big Game Hunter would have changed, potentially could have changed the play for an easy snipe. Not to mention that Dr. Boom is also something prevalent in these decks they have to keep Big Game Hunter accountable for.
So, yeah, he's going to go for the Keeper. And I think this is... He's hoping that the Ancient of Lore is going to trade into the Keeper, in which case he can swipe the next turn.
Yeah, but that's you know, assuming your opponent drops something easy to swipe, not like a Sludge Belcher, or in this case, Druid of the Taunt.
Druid of the Taunt, yes.
Same difference. What about his own Ancient of Lore, if he got that? Oh!
Pretty good.
Alright.
What a soothsayer, Dan.
Huh?
What a soothsayer that you are.
Soothsayer?
Yeah, soothsayer, like someone who can tell the future.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it's one of the best minions that you could. It's one of the best minions that you could draw, but it still trades so poorly against your opponent's Ancient of Lore.
The Ancient of Lore is definitely his climb back, and Sylvanas is pretty problematic too. The opponent will silence it, but he'll dedicate 4 of his mana, and it's still a 5/5 body. So
that being said, I feel like in Entry Fee's position where he's going to be behind for most of the game if he ever comes back at all, Sylvanas is that one card that can help you get back into the game, and Entry Fee does have the correct answer for it.
Right.
So I think it really depends on how you look at the game, or how you look at the situation. Whether you're a glass full kind of guy, glass half full kind of guy, or whether you're Frodan. You're very half empty.
You think I'm half empty? I take offense to that. I'm a freaking beam of sunshine in your life, Monk.
In my life?
And don't try to deny that.
Okay. I admit I enjoy your presence.
I am the cherry on top of your yogurt, sir.
I'll be sure to order more yogurts in the future as well.
No need. I'm here.
No, I thought you were just the cherry. You're my yogurt as well?
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's say that too. 2 Savage Roars. Wait, you have to calculate how much that is first, man. Wait. Okay, so
yeah, sure. Why not?
He was 1 off lethal. That was played so fast, Monk.
Yeah,
that was like played a little bit too quick for my taste, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know. I can't name a single Western player that that would have done that actually.
Probably like Tides of Time. Yeah. Tides plays really quick.
Maybe Dog. Dog does.
Yeah, Dog plays really fast as well.
And sometimes Chalky plays very quick when he wants to throw his opponent off. So we might be looking at Xyuan taking his first game of the series.
I think we are. Is there any way for him to pull out of this scenario? I don't think so. There's just too many bodies on board, and we know that there's a Druid Claw charge. So the Druid the Claw charge plus the Savage Word will be 8 damage. So even if the board gets cleared, if EntryFee doesn't have a taunt or gains life, he's dead.
We do see the taunt, but unfortunately that's not going to be enough. And Xyuan is going to take 1 point in the series.
All right, well.
Not the most exciting game, I would say.
Yeah, definitely not. But that's what Druid Mirrors do for you. There's some life shown in Xyuan. He's won a game. Now he has to do it with Paladin and his Hunter. I think Hunter can definitely do it. Paladin can definitely do it. But at the same time, we've also seen the Druid win the games against those classes too, if it just gets the right start.
Basically, Xyuan just has to hope EntryFee doesn't draw walled growth in both of the games. And I guess that's somewhat likely. I think it's about like there's probably about a 50% chance that you draw walled growth by turn 2, depending on whether you're player 1 or 2. And to not draw walled growth in both games is like 25% chance. If you include the Druid Mirror as well, that's again like a 12% chance even.
I'm pretty interested to see how tomorrow's deck list. I know we still have another match after this, Monk, but none of the Chinese players brought Rogue, and that surprises me because I feel like Rogue is still really strong, especially in Conquest. It doesn't have too many bad matchups.
Yeah, I noticed that that the Chinese players, like just looking at the ladder and talking to them, they really don't like Rogue as much.
Why would they? I thought the Chinese loved Miracle Rogue, and Miracle Rogue is starting to come back.
Well, speaking of Miracle Rogue, there's one card that we see in Miracle Rogue, the Leroy Jenkins. So is this? Have we seen this Hunter already? I believe we have, right?
You're the Liquipedia man.
I am gonna say that. Let's see.
Game number 1 was Druid versus Paladin.
I thought it was Paladin versus Hunter, and the Paladin beat the Hunter.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so we have seen this Hunter before, but we haven't seen this Leroy Jenkins. So again, very interesting deck choices by the Chinese. They run a Hunter that has that has Leopard Gnome and Leroy Jenkins.
This game might be over already, Monk.
Yeah.
Just look at how Druid's well equipped to shut down anything and everything.
Yeah, that's
it's got taunts. It's got the Keeper. If he plays it passively like hero powers, then that gives him an extra turn to take it slow.
Oh man.
EntryFee's just missing like a Wild Growth or a turn 3 drop.
Yeah, Xyuan is thinking, I guess I'll trade my Knife Juggler into the Zombie Chow. I guess that's alright. Trading my 2-drop for a 1-drop, and I can come back from that, but EntryFee has a different idea in mind.
It sounds like such a gross oversimplification of things that having something as simple as a Keeper of the Grove on turn 2 to shut down a turn 2 play from Hunter. It sounds like such a big generalization to say it's over, but Hunter really can't rebound from this easily. He would have to get... Like, Druid has to stall and not have good follow-up to this. Like, he's hero powers twice in a row. And then, of course, you're getting, like, Misha. And you're, like, denying your opponent the ability to control the board.
Yeah, I mean, that's still very possible. EntryFee is going to have a really hard time playing his turn 3. Unless he draws something like a
but he's got double 5-drop here. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point is that he's relief pressure and he's to head on board.
Exactly.
So, like, anything that comes out...
And even if Misha does come out next turn, yeah, there's a swipe in the hand. And with the swipe, he even curves out perfectly. He's going to be able to play one of his 5 drops on turn 5 and then curve out to an Ancient of Lore on turn 6. So, still looking pretty good. The next major hurdle for EntryFee, though, is that Savannah High main. We'll come to that when we get to it, though.
I mean, it might be one of those things where the Savannah High main comes down when the board's not really safe. Okay. Alright. Leok. At least it's not like Huffer that just can get sniped again. Shade becoming 1 turn too late, unfortunately. Would have been perfect the previous turn.
He's still okay with it. He has a lot of decisions to make this turn, though.
Yeah.
I think I would prefer the swipe here. The others, trade unfavorably against the bow plus the Leok, I guess.
That's true, but what is he gonna do on 5 mana if you Lotheb?
I guess a counter Lotheb or
counter Lotheb. Yeah, I guess that's the one thing that would really backfire because then Sludge Belcher becomes a lot weaker.
But I guess you've seen a lot of these other Chinese decks, and you haven't seen Lotheb yet, so you can maybe make the judgment call that Lotheb
I still think Lotheb here is most powerful because you force a very powerful a strong reaction because the Lotheb's too much damage.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
And then, yeah, it's effectively like a board clear.
I think Cult Master is going to be the best that he can do. But you might play the Pilot Shredder here because
I agree with that.
Cult Master, even though you got that 1 extra card, it trades so badly against the Keeper.
Yeah, but then of course this is where the Sludge Belcher comes in. It's the natural predator.
Yeah, perfect card here. That was the one card that he needed.
Not too much to think about. Shade, definitely inferior in almost every capacity. Not to mention that you're still protecting your health. So it comes to the point where Druid actually realistically might be able to use its health as a resource later on in the stage of the game, and that's pretty huge if you have to make those final pushes for lethal.
Yeah, how often do we get to see Druid at 31 health against the Hunter? Yeah, an aggressive...
On turn 6?
Yeah, on turn 6, that runs Leper Gnomes and Leroy Jenkins, right?
Not that often. Not that often.
This list actually reminds me of like the very old Hunters back in the day. They ran like Leper Gnomes and they ran just a bunch of beasts also, and they also ran Leroy Jenkins just as a random finisher. But those were also the days when Unleash the Hounds were 2 mana, so you could do pretty much like the same combo that you can do now for 8 mana. You used to be able to do for 6 mana.
How much damage does he have if he just charges the Fates? He's got 6 this turn, and then he's got Shade the next turn. Yeah, Shade the next turn. Assuming like the body of the Sludge Belcher dies, that'll be 3, 6 more. That's 12 plus the swipe. That's 16. All right, so he won't be able to lethal next turn. See, like this is what it is. You can hit into a high main. Isn't the rule that if the high main hits the face, like you win the game? But not in that scenario. Not if you willingly take the hit. Oh, he's got the combo.
The 8 mana combo.
Yeah, he's got the.
Oh, he's got
he's got the big combo. Oh, you're talking about Leroy. I was talking about the.
Oh. Is that? I'm not sure how good that is actually. I guess it is very good because.
Right, it's a taunt that makes him draw more cards.
Exactly. Like how is
Wow.
How is EntryFee gonna deal with this Cult Master?
Boombots.
If you Boombot though, you're probably gonna give him a card because of this.
He already drawn so many cards. Are you really worried about that? Maybe you make a lethal push with Dr. Boom. He still has to deal with Dr. Boom.
Wow, we called this game. We kind of called this game from the beginning with the Zombie Chow Keeper the Grove.
Right.
But EntryFee did miss his turn 3, and Xyuan did have the Savannah High main on turn 6. It was fully dealt with from EntryFee, but he had to expend so many resources and so much of his board to do so.
I still think I would have liked the Shade of Next Rammus on the previous turn. Just that you have a stronger board to like force Hunter into trading a lot. Yeah. So that way, instead of like they can't attack face, so even if they have high main, they're playing like in fear of you.
Yeah, I would tend to
agree. Because look how low Hunter is. It's like almost within combo range. If you're starting to climb up in the damage counts, they're always going to be afraid.
I think it's those really good players that know when to turn it on and switch from being defensive into offensive. And I think out of all the
had the heal bot in hand, which usually is really bad. And I already thought that Healer had double force in hand at that point. I don't know if it was like that. I will ask the other guys after that. But I think that was the point when I felt really good for the rest of the game too.
其实他详细形容了一下，就是在盗贼对阵德鲁伊的这一场中，他说他在一度是达到了14点的这样的生命线，但对于小德来说呢，这已经是一个在斩杀线之下了，
没错，
非常严重。那他觉得呢，就是他一度已经觉得啊，这场比赛一定输定了，已经准备好玩下一场比赛了。但是突然呢，他是发现，哎，他的对手仅仅只是出了自然之力，
对，
并没有配上咆哮。他就想说，哎，是不是他打错了啊，或者什么情况？但是最后呢，他是反败为胜了。
实际上，确实是观众对于那一手的争议啊比较的多，因为原神后来手上留的是2个冲锋德鲁伊，并没有能力去斩杀一个用了老式这套机器人的这个对手，所以说，确实那一把是胜负的关键。哦，还有最后一个问题，希望他这个 EntryFee 能够为大家展望一下下一轮对阵的形式，他想对上的是哪位选手？
Okay, so we all agree the game was really kind of weird because he got Force of Nature but without Roar, and we can see like you were pretty, like you probably you thought it's Concede probably is the best choice, but you just turned around the table, so it's pretty amazing. So do you have any expectations for the incoming tournaments? Would you like to give your wishes to other players or?
Right now, I cannot really say much about it. So I'm still pretty new in the whole tournament scene. So right now, I cannot say that much. I'm collecting experience myself at the moment.
OK， 就是能身处其中呢，我仍然处在他就是选手仍然处在一个非常兴奋的状态。
是的。
所以可能有一点无言以对吧，暂时就是很激动嘛，因为毕竟刚刚赢得了比赛。
好，那这样的话，我们也是感谢 EntryFee 接受我们的采访，感谢我们的翻译。我们一会儿要进行的是今天的最后一场比赛，由 YM 战队的贪睡之萨满对阵他的对手 Chimmy 啊，一会儿回来。